welcome to Good Grief, the podcast dedicated to demystifying and destigmatizing grief with compassion and humor. I'm Nikki. I'm an end-of-life doula and a grief coach in Columbus, Ohio. And today, I have another super special guest episode. I'm super excited for you guys. I'm saying super a lot. I'm very excited for you guys to listen to this one. I have just been enthralled with this website since I learned about it. I was introduced to the brains behind buriedinwork.com, Adam Zuckerman. He started this website after, well, you know what? I'll let him tell the story. I'm not going to spoil it. But this website, it's buriedinwork.com. We talk about it a little bit, is probably the most comprehensive resource for all things end-of-life planning that I have ever seen. There's all sorts of resources, checklists, thoughts, ideas. It's just a one-stop shop for literally anything end-of-life planning. And it is just amazing. I highly recommend you check it out. But I'm excited for you to hear my conversation with Adam so you can learn all about why he started this website, how it came to be, and some of his personal stories too. Before we get into the episode, just a quick, I'll put some in the show notes too. There is a little bit of light cursing, nothing too terrible out there, but I always want to say that at the top of the show in case cursing is not your bag and it's offensive to you, then I apologize. There's only a couple in the whole show and there's no big F-bombs or anything. So, but if you have children around or whatever, just putting that out there. If you're enjoying my podcast, it'd be wonderful if you would rate and review the show. Tell a friend about it. Those are two quick, easy things you can do to help support me. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you can support me by becoming a patron. You can go to patreon.com/Nikki the Death Doula and support me there. You'll get early access to the podcast, bonus content throughout the week, and yeah, all sorts of good stuff. And I'll give you a shout out here on the show. And I'm always appreciative of my patrons. I let them know every month what their money is going towards because I use all the funds I get from that to provide pro bono work to people who cannot afford my services or just give back to the community where I can. So that's at patreon.com/Nikki the Death Doula. But you're not here for that. You're here to listen to my conversation with Adam Zuckerman. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in again this week. I am super excited to have another great guest episode today. I would love to introduce my new dear friend, Adam Zuckerman. Adam, I'm going to give you a second to introduce yourself. Tell my listeners a little bit about you and your website and what you do.
Yeah, Nikki, you can't say it's a great episode until after we're done.
Okay, sorry. I know it's going to be a great episode.
It's going to be great. Okay, so I'm Adam Zuckerman. I'm the founder of a company called Buried in Work. You can find it at buriedinwork.com. I've got a weird background. I'm an attorney, an MBA. If you asked me 3 years ago if I would be in the death tech industry, I would have said absolutely not. But here I am. I absolutely love it, and we're making an impact. Company founded and got started by accident after my dad passed away from leukemia. It was a very complicated process to transition the estate, and I took very detailed notes of everything that I was doing. And when I showed my mom's financial advisor what I had put together, and she said it was the most comprehensive transition she'd ever seen in her life. Literally, on this date, at this time, I called this person. I used this template to follow up to save time based on this specific article that I found. Here's the listing of all the different accounts, yada, yada, yada. And I'm 45 now. I grew up watching cartoons. She tells me this, and the devil pops up on my shoulder like a cartoon going, she's lying to you. She just doesn't want you to move your mom's money. You got power of attorney, and she knows that. On the other hand, I got the angel popping up on my shoulder that's going, this is kind of interesting. She's recommending that I actually give this to other people and help other people with it. Maybe it could actually do some good. So I showed some friends. I showed some family members, friends of the family, whatnot, all across the age range. My age, sandwich generation, mom's age, 75-ish. Every single person said, Adam, make a website. You know how to code. Help some people out. Mm-hmm. And I thought I was going to make a really bad website with some articles and some of my templates and be done with it. And if people found it, that's great. And if not, that's fine. In a week, I had over 10,000 visits to the website. Yeah. We now push 7 figures of search impressions every single month.
Oh my God.
We are being called, we're being called the most comprehensive end-of-life and estate planning resource on the internet, which is a pretty neat thing for people to say.
Yeah.
And we're helping a lot of people. So that's sort of what we're here to talk about. But
Yeah.
along the way, it's the grief journey. It's all
Yeah.
the different things that we've learned. We've got a book deal coming up. We've got service provider directories. We've got 100 plus checklists. We've got the most detailed estate organization system on the market now, like really cool
Mhm.
products, card games, podcast. It's been crazy. It's been a ride.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see the card games.
Yeah. So, okay. So, card games, kind of funny. I'm going to drink some coffee for people that are listening when I take a break.
Okay.
So, I'm in the hospital with my dad, and there's a few people in the room, and it was quick. He went to the hospital, did tests on Tuesday, checked in on Thursday, died 12 days later.
Oh my
So,
God.
boom. Um, Always a possibility. He had leukemia for 6.5 years. I actually donated bone marrow to him, so I got to joke that he kept me around for spare parts. Uh,
I
and
almost spit my water out. Good job.
You should. It's a good hot take. Great for Instagram. Listen to Adam make Nikki spit. So water all over the mic and computer's ruined. So we're in the hospital. It doesn't look like things are going to be great. This is 5 or 6 days before he passes. So he was home for a few days, like a day and a half, 2 days before, he passed. But he's in the hospital, good spirits, because my dad just has a very fun, boisterous, like warm, engaging, silly sense of humor. And we started asking questions. Tell me one more story about when you were a kid. Tell me one more story about grandpa. If you had an extra hour every day, what would you do with it? Things like that.
Mhm.
And after he passed, I realized those are some of the best memories that I have of him in the hospital were the questions that weren't about where's your bank account? Unbelievably important. Do you have a will? Where is it? What do you want to have happen here? Really important to have. Advanced directives, traditionally important.
Right.
But those are the questions that you need to ask. These are the questions you want to ask.
Yeah.
So I collaborated with a game designer from the Ukraine. I collaborated with another game designer in Virginia. We collaborated to print with a company that prints professional card games in Florida, literally on cardstock. Like, here's one of the ones, one more story, on cardstock that is matte linen feel, so people with
Okay.
dexterity issues can hold it better. All the questions were run by social workers. So, two social workers from different expertises looked at all the questions as well as some other people. And then we ran it by a national organization. They said, this is awesome. So, that turned into one more story. And then people said, well, you have the Clear Kit, which is an organization system. Why don't you do card games that ask some of the questions that are in the Clear Kit? So now we have one called Nothing Left Unsaid, which is a game. Do you have a will? Do you have a trust? Where are your
Mhm.
advanced directives? Do you have passwords? How do you feel about palliative care definition? Things like that. And they're literally selling out. Like we're selling in Sibley Hospital in DC's gift shop, and they keep reordering because people keep buying them. So it's kind of crazy.
That's awesome. I have, so I have bingo cards I made.
Yeah,
It's end of life bingo, and I hand those out when I go to like festivals or whatever, which I
I
know
love
the
it.
death doula goes to festivals. But everybody's like, first of all, people are always wigged out by a death doula because they just see the word death and they're like, and then they see
Mhm.
end of life bingo and they're like, what the hell is this? So it's
Is it
just like
like
this thing's
Is it
like,
like the Super Bowl where you pick the times, like this person's going to die in like the eight
no,
at the end of the hour? Because that would be kind of neat.
no. No, but you check off boxes when you have things like when my advanced directives are done. Somebody knows where my passwords are, and those kind of
This is
things,
awesome.
right?
I
So
love it.
the idea wasn't mine originally. I've seen other ones out there. So,
Mhm.
but
Let's figure out a way to collaborate. We'll get something like it on the Buried and Work website. We'll credit Nikki Smith for coming up with this amazing idea.
I love it.
This is what we do. So, a lot of
Yeah.
the content on our site is in collaboration with other people. So we have over 150 information hubs from, how to make a will, how to make a trust, to space
Mhm.
burials, to diamond and memorials from ashes, like literally the entire ecosystem.
Mhm.
And when people come to us with a question, instead of us saying we don't have an answer, we find somebody to collaborate with that's an expert, or we go and create it on our own. A good example is somebody was in the hospital visiting their mom. They were in a waiting room area and they overheard somebody complaining that they were getting, it was either 2 rolls of toilet paper from Amazon every 4 weeks or 4 rolls every 2 weeks, but they couldn't turn off the auto delivery because it was the person's account that they were visiting in the hospital and couldn't get into the account. What do they do? So now we have an entire information hub about how to close accounts. And we reached out to 100 of the largest companies in the United States and said, if somebody were to pass away, what do you want people to do? So we linked to their customer support. We linked to the pages that you already needed, and it's all free.
That's
So
awesome.
Yeah. So for your bingo, let's figure out how to do
Yeah.
it. And April
I'm gonna
1st
have
next
to
year.
find that article on your website because I have if
Yeah.
something happens to me, my husband like every 2 months is gonna get a whole bunch of protein powder and he's gonna get real annoyed.
There you go. So to find that one, information hubs, it's the account closure or how to close accounts. I forget the exact name of it,
Okay.
but the information hubs are all categorized. That's in the what to do after someone dies category. Very
Okay.
easy to find, and you just click in,
Yeah.
and here's your templates. Here's your XYZ. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love everything. I go to your website from time to time just to look for stuff for like myself or my
Yeah.
clients. I send people there constantly too. And every time I log in there, I see something else new and I'm like, God, this is so great. There's just
Yeah.
literally anything you can think of, end of life related. It's there.
2 weeks ago, we rolled out with podcasts, not podcasts, sorry, playlists.
Okay.
So now, if you want to have a celebration of life, or you want to have country songs that reference death, because you've got to open this up and have fun. I think there's 10, 20 different playlists now that were created, and it's all free again.
Okay. I have a playlist I will share with you because I we had this beautiful maple tree in our backyard. I've talked about
Yeah.
this on my podcast. My listeners know the maple tree is half the reason we bought the house because this great big beautiful tree. It died.
Mhm.
We had to have it taken down before it blew over. And I was mourning for like 2 months over this tree. I cried. I hugged it every day before they came. I made a playlist of songs about trees.
There you go.
Like trees that hold you in your lifetime. Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So
Happy to
that
share that.
that that tree playlist can go onto that one, and then we can link it in with the Green Burial Hub information hub, which we are creating with the Green Burial Council
I
as a
love it.
co-collaborator on the hub. So there's all these different things because
Yeah.
what people don't realize is that, or oftentimes just don't appreciate, I think a lot of people realize it, is that so many of the different aspects of life they touch and concern other aspects that we're going to have to deal with. So your example there of this tree goes to playlists, goes to this information hub. Someone else is going to have a similar experience.
Mhm.
Let's capture as much as we can and be that
Mhm.
go-to place where people get the information they need. And if we can't introduce you or can't service it ourselves, we want to introduce you to somebody that can.
Yeah. And I love all of that because part of why I got into doing what I'm doing and part of and the big reason you got into doing what you're doing was we found where the systems or where things aren't there for us when we need them.
Yeah.
And, we've found that and we're like, okay, well now I know how this works. And when I was in that position, I can help. And so now we find all those other people in that position, they don't have what they need or they don't know what they need. And we know, so we can kind of get the, I love that. And that's how things build, you know?
That's the hope.
Yeah.
People are having trouble learning about death doulas, so we created a death doula information hub, and we're rolling out with an upgrade to our directories. So there's a
Mhm.
service provider directories for death doulas near you.
Yep.
the The reality is that when somebody passes away, it takes on average over 500 hours to administer their estate. That doesn't take into account all of the stuff that you have to do before somebody passes away, which is oftentimes horrendously difficult, especially in a challenging time if you haven't gone through it before. And it's a challenging time even if you have gone through it, to
Yeah.
be frank.
Hmm.
And we just want to make it easier on people
Yeah.
in the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I would like to talk briefly about your dad then, since he was kind of the catalyst for a lot of this. First of
Yeah.
all, as somebody whose entire life is in spreadsheets, I really appreciate that you had so much detail in everything you did because I'm the same way. Um, yeah, so walk us through a little bit about how his journey went, how you went with, your journey with him and how it, you started getting the idea that maybe I should write all this stuff down.
Yeah. I didn't think I was going to do any of this until after he passed away. So my dad had cancer for, as I said, 6.5 years. He was diagnosed with leukemia. I was very fortunate to be compatible for a bone marrow transplant donation. And I did it. Like I was 30% likelihood that I would match, and we matched, which was phenomenal. He had a few extra years. He relapsed. They put him back into remission again. I wasn't eligible a second time for a variety of different reasons, but the leukemia mutated. Along the way, he got skin cancer. Along the way, he got prostate cancer. So we had like a little chart in the house, like cancer 0, Andy 3, Andy 4, right? And he was super positive the entire time, despite all of this starting the year after he retired. So he and my mom retired. My mom was a teacher.
Oh,
He was a senior executive in the IRS, like dedicating his life to help other people,
yeah.
making the world a better place, making the country a better place. Should fund the IRS, by the way. It's like the one organization in the US government that actually brings money in to fund everything. Pretty important. Anyways, so he retires, he gets cancer, and then COVID hits. So like during all this craziness, it's like the last 7 years of his life, it's like this just stinks. I've got cancer, I get better. I get cancer, I get COVID, that type of thing.
Ugh.
But he was the type of person that always had a good outlook on life. The joke I like to give as an example is we're in the hospital and we're doing a story game, one more story, whatnot, with a precursor for it, asking questions. And a nurse walks into the room. He knows all the nurses by names because he's been in and out for years.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, nurse," I'm going to call her Nikki. Nikki, why is a giraffe's neck so long? And she looks at him like, "Andy, what are you talking about? I'm here to get your vitals." And he goes, "So it can reach its head." And it's just such a stupid joke. But this is 5, 6, 7 days before my dad's about to die.
Oh
It's
my
pretty
God.
obvious, like they're not able to treat him anymore, and it's
Yeah.
okay, what are we going to do? Out of options. But he's telling jokes. He's staying positive. Maybe they'll still find something. Maybe they'll come up with something else. Maybe they'll test something else. You never know. Maybe there's a trial I can get into last minute.
Hmm.
But that was my dad. It was his whole life being happy. He he worked to live, not live to work.
Hmm.
He was a family man. He left really early in the morning so he could come back and see the kids at night. Me and my sister and my mom. Um, and I think what ended up happening was because I was in the situation where I was and I took really detailed notes and I didn't want to mess things up for my mom,
Hmm.
based on my background of working in a variety of different industries, it was just the right place at the right time and it grew into buried in work.
Hmm.
Um, it's kind of emotional, like hairs on my arm standing up, goosebumps. My friend Eric, who I grew up with, one of my closest friends, he knew my dad very well. He said, "Adam, there is nothing that would have made your dad happier or prouder than knowing that you are helping people, making money off of his death."
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And I'm like, holy cow, that's actually in that order.
Yeah.
Like we're helping people, number one. We're making it sustainable because you can't help people forever if it's not profitable.
Hmm.
And you're turning a really crappy situation because I
Hmm.
lost somebody that I cared deeply about and loved into something that is really nice. And every single day it's, a memory. Like the camera that I'm talking to you on right now, it's his
Yeah.
DSLR that we would travel and take pictures with. Like literally, I get to heal and grieve and, get through this situation in a way that's very different than if I didn't have something that reminded me of him every day. It also makes it really hard, but that's my
Sure.
long monologue.
Sure. I mean, yeah. Oh, I love that. And I love that I'm always about legacy. I love trying to help people find that thing to kind of help them keep going after they're gone and ways they
Yeah.
can be remembered. And what a beautiful legacy for your dad. You
Well, thank
know,
you.
it's your project. This is your creation, but it's your dad, was the inspiration for all this. And like you just said, every time you work on these things, you're kind of thinking about him. He was the reason
Yeah.
this is here.
It's funny. I think in a lot of ways that legacy, am I allowed to curse? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I
I
have to
think
make a
legacy,
note. But
no,
yes,
no, leave. Do you have to edit it out?
I don't have to edit it out. I just have to make note that
Okay.
there is cursing in this episode.
Hey, everybody, there's cursing in this episode because Adam says that legacy is bullshit. Um, what I mean by that is I don't think anybody's going to remember who I am in 300 years.
Right.
Unlikely. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not Donald Trump. I'm not Barack Obama, President Xi of China. So if people aren't going to remember me in that regard, the legacy that I have is leaving the world in a better place than when I found it.
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm trying to do is that if buried and working up a lot of people over time, that's phenomenal. And it seems like we're on the way.
Yeah. I just had a very similar conversation with my mom. I think it was 2 days ago
Mhm.
over text. Somebody I marginally worked with in my corporate job. Like he was a consultant for that company, but he and I communicated a bit. I don't know this guy super well, but we're connected on LinkedIn. And I posted something about teaching a workshop. because I do workshops on journaling and grief. He made this really long post about how much I changed his life. And I had no idea because he had been through apparently some significant losses. And he was talking about those. And just, he's like, I know she doesn't know this, but just subscribing, like reading her feed, the things she puts on LinkedIn and following her socials and her podcasts, like she helped me out dramatically. And I choked up. I got real emotional
That's
over that.
amazing.
I had no idea. And I was telling my mom about that. And I was like, if, I feel a little awkward sometimes if people say great things about me. I'm not great at taking a compliment, but I was like, that's really all that matters to me is that I'm, if one person out there, which he does at least, has improved and can push that compassion on to the next person, that's all I need. Because
Yeah,
I'm not going to nobody's going to say my name in 300 years,
it's
too,
crazy.
but I'm perfectly happy as long as I'm helping somebody.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I love it. Like right now on our site, like I have a live dashboard. There's somebody in Boston and Washington, West Virginia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Kansas, Miami, Wyoming. Like, it's crazy.
I love
And
that.
there's so many people that are looking at stuff from like, how do I transfer a car title to 10 easy ways to find out if blank, blank, blank happens.
Yeah.
That's if someone died in your house. That's a creepy one. Uh, like there's all these crazy things
Yeah.
and you leave your legacy in different ways.
Hmm.
Don't need a monument. Just leave the world a better place.
Yeah.
Make it easy.
Okay. So you just talked about that, like what to do if somebody dies in your house.
Yeah.
What is the most obscure, weird, crazy, odd, whatever, your favorite odd little thing that you have learned since you started building this website?
Oh gosh. Okay. You don't even know how awesome that question is.
Okay. Oh, God.
I just got a book deal with a company that does almost $2 billion a year in revenue annually. One of the largest publishers in the world, which is awesome. And the title of the book, it's coming out next March, is No Loose Ends: The Smart and Slightly Morbid Guide to Estate Planning and End of Life Tasks.
Love it.
Right? A significant portion of the book is the weird stuff like that I absolutely love. So one thing that I am researching right now, or I'll give you a few different topics. What happens to precious metals in someone's body after they're cremated?
Okay.
Right? So it often gets upcycled, recycled.
Hmm. Yeah.
What happens if somebody dies in one area of the country and has to get transported? Like there's multiple different ways.
Hmm.
Oftentimes it happens by plane, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. And I know a lot of these, but
It's the little things about wills and trusts and estates of you don't actually make a trust for your dog. Like your dog doesn't have a trust. The trust is for the benefit of your dog because your dog is not a legal entity. It can't
yeah.
have it, right? So it's all this like tiny minutia that people don't recognize. One of the problems that we help people a lot is organizing all of your information, and people don't realize that they need to go back and update the payable and death beneficiaries for their accounts, especially after they get divorced, because
Oh,
it's contractual and it gets processed before a will does. So if you
yeah.
don't do that, your ex is going to get your money instead of your
Yeah.
kids, if you have kids. But there's just so many different things. The temperatures, the reason people say traditional burial, but is that actually traditional burial? Because
Hmm.
people are getting buried a long time before
Yeah.
we had caskets. The evolution of how it went from in community or in backyard on farm, the far
Hmm.
side of the farm, to community plots, to then other alternatives as people moved into cities and how that
Yeah.
all came to be.
Ah,
There's just all this stuff, and everybody dies. It impacts us all. A lot of people don't like talking about it, but it's
nope.
freaking fascinating.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've heard some amazing stories. I went to a conference last year out in Dayton, and it was the Before I Die festival, and there was an attorney who was speaking, and I know obviously a little bit about right of survivorship and like the links of kin within the state of Ohio because every state might be a little bit different. I did not know. This was funeral directors push for this. They started a new form you can fill out for the right of disposition of remains to give somebody the right to honor your wishes, whatever you want done with your body after you die. Because if you
Mhm.
don't have that and you don't trust the person who is spouse is always first in the state of Ohio. You don't trust your spouse, or if you have, you know, since you've been remarried and you don't trust your new spouse to honor your old, like they can do whatever they want, basically. So there's a form you can fill out to make sure your wishes are honored. I'm like, right?
Yeah, and that's not unusual. I was in Iowa at the Funeral Director Association's conference, and these are the type of things that people are talking about. Like, there's these strange nuances. So there's something called fly-ins on Capitol Hill, where people get flown in from around the world, around the country, to advocate on specific issues that matter to them. And there is a bill that's being proposed that impacts formaldehyde, but a lot of that formaldehyde is for rug processing, things of that nature.
Hmm.
And the unintended consequence of if that bill passes without considering those unintended consequences, the embalming industry and others, funeral industry gets impacted. So what
Yeah.
happens? So it's delving not one layer, but two layers and three layers and four layers. Going, if this, then that. I've
Hmm.
learned about, there's a lot, I guess. Read the book when it comes out in March. I
Yeah.
don't want to get into too many crazy details, but
Yeah.
it's really neat, from home burials to everything in between. Like, we could
I
be here for
am
hours.
very excited for the book. I will absolutely get my copy when it comes out.
Yeah.
There's a book I found a while ago by Caitlin Dowdy, who is my patron saint.
Hmm.
She's the reason I do what I do, but she wrote a book called Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? And it's
Hmm.
just chill. Have you read this book?
I haven't, but she's fantastic. She's written From Here to Eternity.
Yeah,
She's
that's
written
my
Sparkles
favorite.
in Your Eyes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Caitlin's
Uh,
good.
this one, it's different questions that have been posed by children about death and dying, and she
Hmm.
answers them like honestly and frankly, and it's so cool because little kids have asked, like, "Well, if I die, will my cat eat my face?" And short answer, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they will.
If
Yeah.
left there long enough, yes, they will.
Cats apparently go after your ears first or something,
Yeah,
and they start, yeah, it's dogs not as much.
yeah,
Yeah.
and mouth to anyway. That's we don't have to get into those
No, no,
details.
this is the type of thing, like the slightly morbid. If you want the estate planning side, read the front of the book.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm a little bit morbid, so I'm excited about that. All right, I had another question and it escaped my brain.
Oh
So,
no.
let's see. Nope, it's gone.
It's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
So anything else you want to add? Any fun stories, tidbits? What's your favorite thing on your website that you send people to?
Mm. I don't want to talk about the website. Let's talk about something that's not related to work. I'm a
Okay.
beekeeper. Yeah.
Oh, something not related to work?
Yeah, I'm a beekeeper.
You know a beekeeper?
I am a
Oh,
beekeeper.
you are a beekeeper.
I am a beekeeper. Yeah.
Okay, well, tell me a little bit about that.
All right.
I love
So,
bees.
yeah, so we all need bees. They're really important. Without
Uh,
them, a lot of people would die because we wouldn't have food. So, go plant
100%.
some nice pollinating flowers in your garden for everybody. There you go.
I've been trying to do that, and the squirrels keep eating everything I plant. So
Oh, oh,
that's
good.
okay. We're planning to plant another tree um, to replace the one that we had to take down, and I want something that's good for pollinators. So that's my goal.
I like it. Yeah.
Bees are super important.
Bees are very important. Yeah. But if you want to talk about the website, it's there, buriedinwork.com. Come find us. Let us know what you hate. Let us know what you love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm like I said, I'm sending people there all the time. So
Thank you.
all right. Well,
You're the one.
what I have a little tradition on my show where I will pull a card at random from the death deck. Have you
Oh my
seen?
God, Lisa's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Lisa's amazing. I love it. Yes.
good. So I'm going to pull one of these at random, and then you're going to answer it, then I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
And I used to do this on screen so people know I'm literally pulling at random. Oh, okay. I have a good answer for this, but okay. This is a fact. You are going to die. How often do you think about this?
Every day.
A, often, but I
Often.
try
A.
not to obsess.
That's not fair. We both have to pick A. Pick a different card. We're
You
in the
want me to pick
industry.
a different card? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The answer is A for both of us. I mean, how
Yeah,
could you not?
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, the best death would take place at home, in a hospital, or while doing something I love. Wink, wink.
Oh wow. Wink wink. Lisa, you are making this difficult. I wouldn't want to wish that on anybody. I think that would be a terrible thing. Have you ever seen the movie Dave?
No, wait, have I? No, I don't think I have.
Go watch the movie Dave. It's really funny. It has this is a really great movie. Go watch it. You'll
Okay.
understand why I
It's,
said that.
I think maybe I have, but well, is it
It's
the one?
got Kevin Kline in it. So
I have
Kevin
seen
Kline,
it.
Sigourney Weaver,
Yes.
president, has a
Yep. Yep. Yep.
stroke.
Yep.
yada yada yada.
Yep.
Anyways, I'm gonna go with at home.
Okay.
If there was no wink wink, I think it'd be really cool to go out in something fun, but not in the wink wink.
Yeah,
No.
right. Right. No, I always say that I'm probably going to die petting something that I shouldn't.
Okay. Like a
Um,
tiger.
yeah, like a bear, mountain lion, something. I don't
I
know.
got to pet a panda bear once.
Was it super soft?
Yeah, it was like super soft hair-ish. He was eating some bamboo. I was in China.
My God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, no, my husband and I do a lot of backpacking and hiking, and I see wild animals. I'm like, look, he's like, don't touch
Don't
it.
pet the wild animals. Don't do
No.
it. They
So
look fuzzy, but they'll eat you.
I mean, if I have my choice, I would like to die. I don't even know if I'd really want to be at home because that's a lot to put on my husband to have to live in the house where I died, but someplace nice in the woods somewhere, like a cabin or I don't know. I just watched the room next door, the one with Tilda Swinton. Have you seen that? Oh my God, it's on Netflix. Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore. It's amazing. Uh, yeah, it's a little bit about medical aid and dying and all that. So fantastic. But she dies out on. I won't spoil it.
Yeah, don't
I
spoil it
won't
for me.
spoil it for you.
Everybody
Anyway,
else.
but that's kind of what she rents this beautiful house out in the woods, and that's kind of what I would prefer.
Okay.
Someplace pretty in the woods. So,
I like it.
but again, odds are pretty good. I'll just pet something I shouldn't. All right.
Hopefully not.
Oh, Adam, this has been absolutely a blast. You are so fun to talk to. Is there anything else you would like to share with my listeners before we wrap this up?
No.
Okay. Get your advanced directives done, people. I'm always harping on that. Get your crap in order.
Directives. There's a whole information hub. We partner with a company called Midio, which I think is one of the best ones out there. You can do it yourself, but Midio's approach is really neat.
Okay.
You get an actual video of your advanced directives in addition to your printed directives, in addition to a card that goes in your wallet, in addition to a card that goes in your proxy's wallet. Because the problem with advanced directives is pretty simple. If people can't access them when they need them, it's as if they don't exist.
Yep.
So it gives all the information to everybody that actually needs it, and it's available for whenever it's needed, wherever that individual is. So, Midio, there's your plug. They didn't know I was going to say that. I hope they, get some work out of it.
I love that. Yeah, I'm always harping on people to get their advanced directives done, but I'm like, okay, but once you're done, you have to give them to people.
Yeah,
especially the people that are your power of attorneys. Make sure they have a copy.
Here's your tagline for estate planning. You create your estate plan today for tomorrow, and it has to evolve with you over time. If people don't know how to access it, it's as if it doesn't exist. You don't have to tell them what's in it, but you have to tell them where it is so they can access it in the event that they need it, and it has to be readily accessible. How that happens is up to you. Go to buriedinwork.com. We can help you figure it out.
Yeah, I love it. Little commercial there at the end. Perfect.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Adam. This has been absolutely a blast.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you.
All right. Another huge shout out and thank you to Adam for being on my show. Adam, thank you so much for sharing your story with me and my listeners and the world and creating this amazing website. Please check it out, buriedinwork.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to leave me a 5-star rating and a review. That's a great way for other people to find me. An even better way is for you to tell somebody about my show. If you know somebody you think you might enjoy it, let them know. And you can also find me on my website, it's nikkithedeathdoula.com. And if you go to nikkithedeathdoula.com/podcast, you can get some merch for this show. I've got shirts, mugs, stickers, journal. Please feel free to go check that out. And you can find some other great resources on that page as well from the guests I've had on my show. You can also find me over on Substack. I'm Nikki the Death Doula there and everywhere. So thank you so much for tuning in this week. And remember, as always, your grief is yours. Your feelings are valid. Grief doesn't always have to suck. Good Grief with Nikki the Death Doula is produced by Nikki Smith of Nikki the Death Doula LLC in Columbus, Ohio. Nikki the Death Doula LLC is for consulting, education, emotional support, and guidance, and is no way considered a funeral establishment or licensed mental health establishment. Scripts, editing, sound design, literally everything with this podcast is done solely by Nikki Smith of Nikki the Death Doula LLC, with the exception of the music. The music is Cheery Monday by Kevin MacLeod. Licensing information can be found at filmmusic.io.